You think being strong means never needing anyone. But that armor you built isn't protecting you, it's suffocating you. You've spent years perfecting the art of not asking for help when you're drowning in deadlines, not asking for comfort when grief sits heavy in your chest, not asking someone to stay when the silence in your apartment feels like it's crushing your ribs. You learned early that needing people meant giving them power to disappoint you, to leave, to prove that you were right all along. You can only rely on yourself. So you stopped reaching out. You stopped admitting when things were hard. You built an entire identity around being the one who handles it, who doesn't crack, who never becomes a burden. And people admired you for it. They called you resilient, independent, strong. But here's what they didn't see: the 3 a.m. anxiety spirals you white-knuckled through alone. The celebrations you downplayed because sharing joy felt too vulnerable. The way you've become an expert at answering "I'm fine" with such conviction that even you almost believe it. Let me tell you about someone I knew. Let's call her Maya. She was the friend everyone leaned on, the colleague who stayed late to help others meet their deadlines, the daughter who flew home every crisis without being asked. Maya wore her self-sufficiency like a badge of honor. She'd joke about being low maintenance and not needing much, and people loved that about her because she made their lives easier. But I watched what it cost her. She sat in hospital waiting rooms alone because admitting she was scared felt like admitting defeat. She celebrated her 30th birthday with a grocery store cupcake and a Netflix queue because organizing something felt like asking people to care. When her long-term relationship ended, she told exactly 2 people, downplayed it immediately, and then wondered why no one checked on her a week later. The thing about Maya that haunted me was this: she wasn't protecting herself from rejection. She was guaranteeing it. Here's the mechanism you need to understand. What you call strength is actually a trauma response called counter-dependency. Research in attachment theory identifies it as a defensive strategy where you compulsively avoid relying on others because early experiences taught you that vulnerability equals danger. Maybe you had inconsistent caregivers. Maybe you were parentified, forced to be the adult when you were still a child. Maybe someone you trusted left, and your nervous system encoded the lesson: need nothing, lose nothing. Counterdependency manifests as an anxious vigilance disguised as confidence. You're hypervigilant about being a burden, about seeming weak, about giving anyone the opportunity to let you down. Neuroscientist Dr. Stephen Porges explains this through polyvagal theory. Your autonomic nervous system is stuck in a protective state where connection feels threatening, so you perform independence. You overfunction. You handle everything yourself not because you want to, but because your nervous system has learned that needing people activates the same fear response as actual danger. And here's where it gets insidious. Society rewards your dysfunction. Every time you handle a crisis alone, someone calls you strong. Every time you don't ask for help, you're labeled independent. Every time you minimize your own needs, someone thanks you for being easy or low drama. The positive reinforcement creates a feedback loop. You get external validation for the very behavior that's hollowing you out from the inside, so you double down. You become the person who says "I've got it" before anyone can offer. The one who changes the subject when conversation gets too close to your actual feelings. You've trained everyone in your life to believe you don't need them, and now you resent them for believing you. You're angry they don't check in more, but you've punished every previous attempt by insisting you're fine. You're lonely, but you've made yourself unreachable. And the cruelest part, you think this is a personality trait. You think this is who you are. It's not. It's a defense mechanism. You're white-knuckling 24 hours a day. The loneliness you feel isn't circumstantial. It's architectural. You've built your entire relational world around a false premise that connection without need is possible. But Dr. Sue Johnson, founder of emotionally focused therapy, has spent decades proving the opposite. Dependency is not the enemy of autonomy. Healthy relationships are built on mutual responsiveness to each other's needs. The research is unambiguous. People in secure relationships ask for support more, not less. They express needs clearly. They admit when they're struggling, and their relationships deepen because of it, not despite it. What you're experiencing is called avoidant attachment loneliness, a unique kind of isolation where you're surrounded by people but emotionally unreachable. You can be in a room full of friends and still feel utterly alone because no one knows you're drowning. No one knows because you won't tell them. You won't tell them because somewhere along the way, you decided that being known, truly known, was more terrifying than being lonely. Back to Maya, the turning point came not during a crisis but during something mundane. She was sick, just a flu, nothing dramatic, and a friend dropped off soup unasked. Maya's first instinct was to text back immediately. "You didn't have to do that, I'm totally fine, but thank you," the usual deflection. But she was too exhausted to type it, so she just wrote, "Thank you, I really needed this today." And her friend responded, "I know, I'm glad I could help. Let me know if you need anything else." Something cracked open in Maya that day, not because of the soup but because of the realization that followed. Her friend didn't think less of her for needing something. Her friend felt closer to her. For years, Maya had believed that admitting need would push people away, but the opposite was true. By never needing anything, she'd kept everyone at arm's length. She deprived them of the opportunity to care, and she deprived herself of the experience of being cared for. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's information. When you tell someone I'm struggling, you're not burdening them. You're giving them the data they need to show up accurately. When you ask for help, you're not imposing, you're inviting connection. And when you admit you need people, you're not losing your strength, you're accessing a different kind of strength entirely. The kind that doesn't require you to be invulnerable. The kind that doesn't exhaust you. Dr. Brené Brown's research with thousands of participants found that people who express need and accept support report higher life satisfaction, stronger relationships, and lower rates of anxiety and depression than those who maintain emotional self-sufficiency. Because here's what your nervous system has been trying to tell you. Humans are a social species. We are literally wired for co-regulation. Your brain calms down in the presence of safe others. Your stress hormones decrease when you share a burden. Isolation isn't strength. It's a biological stressor that shortens your lifespan by an amount comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So what does the shift actually look like? It's not a dramatic transformation. It's small, uncomfortable experiments in letting people in. It's texting today was really hard instead of all good. When someone asks how you are, it's saying I could actually use some help with this instead of I've got it handled when you don't. It's staying in the conversation when someone asks a follow-up question instead of deflecting with humor or changing the subject. It's tolerating the discomfort of being seen when you're not okay. Because that discomfort you feel, that's not a warning sign, it's your nervous system recalibrating. You've spent so long in protective mode that openness feels dangerous even when it's not. The fear you feel when you admit you need something isn't evidence that you're doing something wrong. It's evidence that you're doing something new. And yes, some people will disappoint you. Some people won't show up the way you need them to, but some will. And those are your people. Maya told me later that the hardest part wasn't learning to ask for help. It was learning to tolerate people's willingness to give it. She'd spent so long believing she was too much, too needy, too complicated, that when people showed up without resentment, it broke something open. She cried the first time a friend said, "I want to be here for this," during a hard conversation, because she'd never let anyone want that before. She started small, admitting when she was tired, asking friends to keep her company during hard tasks, letting people celebrate her wins without minimizing them. And the relationships didn't weaken, they deepened. People told her they felt closer to her, that they'd always wanted to support her but didn't know how, that they were relieved she finally trusted them enough to let them in. The identity shift was seismic, from the strong one who needs nothing to someone worthy of care even when things are messy. And the wild part, she didn't lose her strength. So here's where you are. You've built an identity around not needing anyone and it's made you unreachable. You've confused invulnerability with strength and it's costing you the very connection you're starving for. The way out isn't louder independence. It's quieter honesty. It's the terrifying, necessary work of letting people see you when you're not okay and discovering that they don't leave, they lean in. It's realizing that the armor you built to protect yourself has become the thing you need protection from. You don't have to dismantle it all at once, but you do have to start. One honest conversation, one admission of struggle, one moment of letting someone carry something with you instead of for you. The loneliness you feel right now is optional, but only you can make it so. In tomorrow's video, we'll explore why the people who hurt you the most are often the ones you refuse to let go of, and what that says about the version of love you learned to accept. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If the video resonated with you, hit subscribe. Uncomfortable Truths drops a new uncomfortable truth tomorrow and every day after on personal finance, relationships, mindset, and productivity, and more. Turn on notifications so you're first to see it. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's always worth it.